So I officially started my Brotherhood community today.
Yay!
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that. I am so happy that I get the opportunity now to pour into a lot of other men who, not just a lot of other men, a lot of other husbands who I closely relate to, knowing that we have a very unique struggle and we deal with a lot of different challenges that not only not a lot of other people don't relate to, but not even a lot of other men relate to. So having the opportunity, to get on the call with, 10, 12 of us as it is right now and just pour into them and to kind of share with them my vision of what I'm hoping, what I know our community is going to evolve into. That was dope for me today. So I'm real excited about that.
That's amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming in the cards at all. As far as building a community, for committed husbands and doing work like this, I really didn't see this coming at all. But I'm definitely glad that I did, and I have a whole nother level of conviction now, knowing that these guys are dependent on me to show up and to do what I said I was going to do.
Right. So what made you decide to start a community for intentional husbands?
Honestly, the real desire to build a brotherhood that I'm building now came from my own desire for brotherhood. I didn't realize until I read that book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, how much of an impact not having solid men around me had on me as a man. And not only that, but also me as a husband. Like I mentioned to you before, like there was a part of me that I kind of disconnected with when it got to a point to where it was really just me, you, and baby girl. And I kind of lost that dog in me, as I explain it or describe it. That drive and ambition and competitiveness or whatever. Like I've still been driven to a degree, but not in the same regard as how I have been before when I've had that other energy around me that pushes me in a different way.
Yeah, it's different with the fellas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now having created something like that to where I can express that, I'm feeling renewed, so to say.
So how did you discover that you weren't the only man with this deficiency, I guess you can say, like where you lacked the brotherhood that you desired? Like, how did you figure out like this was actually a bigger problem than what you originally thought?
I would have never guessed this, but being a husband is lonely at times.
Okay.
Not from the standpoint of not having your spouse or anything like that, because of course, like I have my wife, like you're my best friend, you're my helpmate, my biggest supporter, all of those things. But it's lonely in the aspect of not having other solid male companionship around other guys who have the same values, morals, and obligations and level of understanding as you do. It's like when you're a married man, you have a higher understanding of how you have to carry yourself. You have to have a certain degree of awareness when it comes to how you deal with other people, how you show up in the world, the things that you will and won't tolerate. You have to move a little bit differently because not only do you reflect who you are when you're out there in the world doing different things, but you're also a representation of your family.
Right.
You're also a representation of your standards and what you do and don't allow. And you also have to be aware of how those things impact you and how they can sometimes, rub themselves off on you and other environments that matter to you inside of your marriage. The conversations that a lot of, the single guys or not so committed man or whatever may have, you can't necessarily, engage and interact in those same type of activities because your standards and different things like that are different. And so it can be very isolating, especially when you're an intentional and really committed husband, you carry a lot of weight. You carry a lot of weight from wanting to make sure that you're being the type of husband that your wife needs, making sure that you're the type of father and present father that your child needs, making sure that the other people, in your life, are being able to get the best version of you, while also making sure that you're providing and showing up, to take care of the things up that you need to be able to take care of. You're carrying a lot on you, and you're always kind of hypercritical of yourself, wondering if I'm doing a good job.
Right.
And holding yourself to this standard that only you hold yourself to, because it's not even that it's coming from the people you love. It's the fact that you're just hypercritical of yourself and always trying to see if I'm doing well enough, if I'm meeting a certain standard, if I'm meeting my own standard, or do I have a negative connection to my past, or maybe my father figure, or whatever I've seen out there before. So like, you're processing a lot. And this isn't to say that this is like this across the board, but a lot of other husbands out here relate to it.
So how did you figure out that a lot of other husbands relate to it?
Calling my brothers.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, calling my brothers.
Okay.
I picked up the phone after I had this realization of a lot of the things that I was dealing with, and I just asked questions. And come to find out, a lot of them had felt isolated. They had felt overwhelmed at times. Had gotten to points to where it felt like they were so misunderstood and like disconnected from other people because of them trying to make sure that they're always showing up for the people that they love and care about at the expense of neglecting themselves.
Right.
So you're trying to do all these other right things for everybody else, but you're putting self on the back burner, not realizing that when you do that, you're not actually giving your wife, your kids, your family the best version of you. You're actually giving them a depleted version of you because you haven't prioritized yourself enough to where you can actually give them the best of you by making sure you take care of self. And it was in asking questions that I realized that, for one, nobody had ever asked them that question.
Right. Nobody
had ever talked to them about that.
Yeah.
And it was like looking in the mirror, it was like, bro, you understand. And in having those conversations, I realized that we had a whole lot more in common on that level than I had even expected. So I picked up the phone and I asked questions.
That's so dope. So your curiosity led you to, well, first of all, figuring out that you had the issue yourself, and then your curiosity as to, like, are other men or other, husbands having this issue too? That's so dope. And that's how you're building your community.
Yeah, because I know.
So dope.
I appreciate it, baby. Like, I know I'm not that unique in all ways. So I feel like it had to be common in some way. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'm just so unique to where if I'm feeling a certain type of way that I'm the only one like this. Like, there's no way.
Right.
There's no way. So when I picked up the phone and I started calling my guys, come to find out, we was all singing the same song. And we were all just functioning with it. And it was just one of those things to where, like, like as men, like, we just deal with it. Like, you don't.
Right.
So of course nobody ever asked those type of questions. You know what I mean? Like, it came from me doing a whole lot of reflection and thinking about myself and where I was lacking in some areas and my own desire for brotherhood.
Right.
Because like, you're my baby, and I love what we have. But there is another side of me too that allows me to hold on to that manly or more masculine side of me that only comes from me being in the arena, in the cage, with the fellas or whatever. Like, you can't just get that when you spend all of your time, with your wife. And I came to realize that.
Right.
And for the sake of just being good men, so to say, a lot of them, it's not even that they sacrificed, all their male relationships or whatever the case may be. It's just the fact that you become more protective.
Mm.
And most of the guys, you know, who I spoke with and actually who I see, all of the really solid, good, intentional husbands that I see, they don't usually have a whole lot of other men that they keep around them like that.
Right.
Because their standards are different, and because a lot of the friends that most people have, not even really just men, is really just by association and proximity. Very rarely is it based off of shared values and standards.
Right.
And other things like a collective of men, you know, who are genuinely committed husbands, who are into fitness, who are into personal development, who are into talking about progressive things that allow us to be able to think and open up, be vulnerable and share certain insights, whatever, to pour into one another, whatever. It's very rare that you run across other men within your own proximity that can fulfill that type of need. So this was really my effort of curating it. And I'm like, well, if I'm doing it for me selfishly, I need some solid brothers. You know what I mean?
Right.
I need some solid dudes around me or whatever to help give me that energy that I need, but not just because I want that for me, but I also want to pour into y'all too, because I've been doing a whole lot of work on me. And I can see where some of the things that I've learned and that have helped me and that have added value to me, I see where I can be able to take those same tools and insights that I've gained and I can pour those into y'all.
Right.
And we can figure out ways to be able to do that in different areas together as well. Because I ain't got it all figured out.
Right.
But I can figure out way more with the collective minds of other solid men around me and feel good about it, knowing that we share similar values and standards and that we're all looking to grow together. So there's no ego there. There's just brotherhood.
Yeah.
And showing up for one another and allowing each other to be seen, to know that the things that you're doing that they matter, for one, you know, and also to give a sense of purpose, because again, it's not just them listening to me talk all the time.
Right.
But them opening up and sharing things that have added value to them.
Right.
And that gives a sense of purpose, because when they get to open up and they get to share insights from things that they've learned, and they hear all of these other guys who are getting value from it and stuff like that, that gives a sense of purpose, because now what you just went through, it wasn't just you going through it, but now it's become a lesson that you're pointing to other men that they can use. And that gives a sense of purpose. It's like, my story matters. Because now I can be able to take what I've lived through and what I've learned, and I can take that information and I can pour it into other men, and they can find a way to make use of, or in me sharing it, they can also be able to help me reframe my perspectives and make what I'm doing now that may be working good better. And we can just share collectively from one another and just grow.
Right.
And become better husbands and better fathers and better men. And that's what it's about.
I love to hear it. I'm here for it. I really am. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for this new journey for you. And I believe it's going to be bigger than what you think.
Yeah,
It already is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is dope. So you'll be opening up the community tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll start opening it up, promoting it a little bit more. Not a little bit more. I'll be promoting it for sure. You know, for other guys who fit the description to be able to be a part of it. But it won't be for everybody.
Right.
It's not for every husband.
Right.
It's not for everybody who just thinks that just because you're married, you could be a part of this, or just because you're a father, you could be a part of this. Nah. And we're making the process of getting in and being a part of our community difficult on purpose, because these are men that I'm protective of.
I know that's right.
And I'm not about to allow any type of guys just to come in here and taint what we have going on.
Right.
So it's quality over quantity for how we're taking this approach.
Yes.
And it won't just be me accepting people in. It'll be a collective. It won't just be people, just talking to me. Granted, I will talk, but I'm also introducing people to other guys in the community, and not like interviewing or nothing like that. But as you make it through, the review questions, and you do some of the other things, that we're going to have guys do, we're talking to you to get to know you and to get a sense of who you are and see how you connect with what the real mission is and the intent is behind our community. Right. So that way we can bring you into the fold as a brother, because it's not a money grab. Like, it's not free, because free, as we all know, attracts the worst quality type of people, unfortunately. Yeah. But I also feel like this is a service to the wives. This is a service to the wives, because a lot of really good women out here, a lot of really good wives, a lot of good marriages out here, the wives may be unaware of some of the mental and emotional battles that the husbands deal with from this standpoint. Right. Because this ain't the type of stuff that most husbands, even the great ones, would even talk about. Right. You just deal with it. Yeah. Because you love your family. You love your wife. You love your kids. You love the things that you serve. It can just be a lot. And you don't complain about that because you're grateful for it. You wanted it. You gladly show up and you serve your family. You care about them. You pour into them. But it can be a very isolating and lonely thing, and it can still be a lot. Right. And it's a level of sacrifice and selflessness that only a fraction of other people, of other husbands specifically, understand. And so we're here to serve those ones and to keep the great marriages still strong and locked in, so that way we can continue to cultivate a community of solid, well-rounded husbands who stand on solid values and are being validated in another way from their peers and from other men, who see the value in who they are and what they stand on. And then to be able to cultivate that community up to where our voices become louder than some of these other negative voices out here who portray marriage and being married as a man in such a negative life and negative light and all of these things. Like, nah, we not having that. But we can only make that voice louder if we come together and we forge something that's meaningful and intentional, and we start to create that transformation in ourselves first before we can cast, that message out. And that's what we're doing. It's like, it's real easy to say, more people should be married. It's easy to say that more people should value marriage and those types of values and different things like that or whatever. But there's still a lot of good ones out here that need to be sustained, that need to be poured into, right? That need to know that what they have is something of value, and to have that thing reinforced. Yeah. And I want to create an environment where the guys can get their cups filled back up. Yes. And ain't nothing like hearing, other men see you do manly stuff and then shout you out for that. Like, my dog holding this family down. Like, I see you in the books. I see you over here leading the conference calls or whatever. I see you over here getting your fitness and your mind right and different things like that. All of these things that we're introducing into the community. And then we get to push you back into your family as a greater image of yourself, a greater husband, a greater man, a greater father, all of these different aspects. And then hopefully we get to a point to where the wives are coming to us and they like, thank you for the impact that you made on my husband. Thank you for the impact that you've made on our marriage and our household or whatever. And for creating an environment to where, the wives can say, like, you fill my husband's cup up. You help him get to a point to where he was able to rediscover himself, get that dog back in him and serve our family. So that's the mission.
I love it. I've already received a couple of great testimonials from women about how dope the energy of their husband is after the calls with y'all.
Oh, really?
Yes. I talk to people.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So it's is, even though you haven't opened it up to everybody or to, you know, advertise it or whatever, but it's making an impact already. And I think that's so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
It's what I need. Like, I'm paying my dues too. Like, I'm not above anybody in the community we're building. Like, I need this. And I know others need it. So since we all need it, let's come together and help each other.
Right.
And our wives and our kids get to reap the benefits of us taking care of ourselves. Man, one of my guys in that boy even talking about starting a Bible study. I'm like, come on, man.
Right.
We got a lot of guys in there who don't really have a real relationship with God and stuff like that. So we're opening up a thread where we can have just conversations about that and discuss our own growth and things like that. And do it in a space to where, like, we're not pushing church or anything like that on anybody or whatever, but we're all openly discussing our relationship with God who's leading us spiritually, so that way we can also in return lead our families. Because I was telling the guys on the call, man, I was like, man, with the way my vision is set up and the weight that I've carried for my family and how down bad I've been before, I'd be crazy not to lean on something bigger than me. Because this is way too challenging at times. Like the weight that you carry as a man, as somebody who's really trying to hold down this family, who's leading me? Like if not God, like who's gonna hold me accountable?
Right.
So something beyond just the physical presence of my wife and my kids also gotta keep me in check. You know, and the fact that even though a lot of the guys may not necessarily be on the same level in that regard on the cause, but you could see that the interest is being piqued. That they're welcoming a relationship with God, you know, into the fold. And it ain't nothing that's being pushed on them. I'm just saying, I'm like, hey, boss, this is helping me.
Right.
Like when I was down bad, what happened? It's like, man, when you done been real down bad in your marriage and everything is falling and you know that you're the provider, you're the foundation and all of this stuff or whatever, and it's crumbling around you, what's the first thing? Most people, the first thing they do is Lord, help me. Please. I got to figure this thing out. You know what I mean? Right. But how can we get to that point to where we can lean on God and things like that without it having to fall apart? Like, nah, like while things are still good, boss, this is the one who's leading me through a lot of this stuff. You know, and we can openly have those conversations and stuff as well, you know, freely. So we got different segments inside of the community for us to be able to express so many different parts of us, from personal growth to fitness to, you know, God and the Bible and different things like that. Just open discussions about being a parent, just being a guy in general, just all the stuff, man. Like,
so it's just here. So it's not all like personal growth. It's like, no, like what kind of music y'all
real
listen
life.
to?
We
like,
just had a conversation literally in the thread talking about, you know, new music that we was all on. I was talking about, you know, D-Smoke, and we was talking about other like bangers, you know, I had to bring up Too Much, you know, by Drake. That was my joint, you know, in the pretty much in all settings, really.
Right.
You know, that's a forever classic for me. Man, we talking music, we talking whatever. One of my guys, like I said, he even in the pottery. I ain't never heard of nobody being in the pottery, for real. Come to find out, some other guys had tried it and they was like, yeah, it's actually therapeutic. Right. You know?
And now you want to try it.
I tried out, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Right. You know, so would have never even considered it as a thing. Right. You know, not for me, but yeah, man, that's the thing though. Like we get to be introduced to different things, like from even how we take care of our wives, you know, on a romantic level. I was sharing with some of the guys, you know, some of the stuff that I did for you for Valentine's Day, and they was like, bro, I never would have thought of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God dang, man, like I need some help when it comes to figuring out gifts and doing stuff because I'm not the romantic type. So guess what we do? Hey, XYZ time is coming up. What y'all doing?
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how we gonna take care of these wives?
Yeah.
Hey, what's something you done for your wife, that done like wooed her? Like that done just like made her feel like she was on like cloud 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dang, bro, how did you put that together? What's your resources? You know what I'm saying? Even discussing how we can better take care of our wives in that regard. You ain't gotta lean on your own knowledge and shortcomings or whatever the case may be. Like, no, we can use the power of the collective.
I love it. This is so dope.
That's how I'm looking at it, man. I'm like, listen, we so much better together. We so much better together. And I've never, ever been in a community where we get together and we talking about how we gonna like spoil and take care of our wives.
Right.
And you know how exciting that is? I'm like, man, I gotta step mine up. Hold up. What you doing? And it's not a comparative thing. It's just like, oh, I never thought of that before. Okay, I just did this. All right, I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm gonna try that out too.
Yeah.
Bro, how did you pull that out? Bet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a whole like, oh, you do stuff like that or whatever. Like, like trying to compare and all the other stuff. It ain't none of that. So it's all love. Like, we done had some real conversations about some real stuff.
Yeah.
Some heartbreaking stuff. Yeah. And we was all there to pull each other out of it. And like, soon as one brother stopped talking, we all rushed to show support.
Yeah.
It's like, dog, the next time you feeling something like that, like, come here.
Right.
We got you.
Right.
Call all of us.
Right.
Put it in the community if you got to. We'll show up. Yeah. Emergency Zoom call if we need to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's closest to you? So, showing up, man.
That's a beautiful thing, baby.
And it's only a handful of us now, but the goal, is at some point in time, it'll be thousands of us in there.
I'm ready for the family trips.
Big facts. Big facts. Because we got to do that.
Yeah.
The only way to really build solid community and to really be able to reinforce this, to get the wives involved, get the kids involved, get our families to see what we're doing. So it can't just be the men. At some point in time, it's like the wives got to get a peek into the room and see what we're doing and what we're cultivating here, and get them to a point to where they're also involved in it, and can see what's actually what's actually been done here. And like you said, having those trips and experiences and different things like that. So the way ahead is going to be dope.
Yeah.
Just got to keep our head down, keep being intentional, keep showing up,
keep serving.
Keep serving one another, and stay true to who we are, and just keep doing this thing. Like, really just keep doing this thing. And I really believe that something amazing is going to come out of this thing, and a lot of lives and relationships and things like that are going to be changed and transformed for the better. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah. I've never seen you so fired up about a thing before. Like, it's different. This is bringing out a different version of you, and it's amazing to watch. Like, I can't even lie.
The conviction's different. Because I got a lot of people holding me accountable. Like, you don't just sit on the call and share your vision with people like that and then not feel convicted.
Right.
Like, bro, I just brought y'all into, like, the intimate thoughts of my mind and my heart and what I want to do for y'all. Like, it's like a promise. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta do this thing.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a conviction now. Like, I can't, because now it'd be like quitting on y'all, and I can't do that.
Right.
So the fact that we got these calls and we got to show up every week or whatever, like, just got to stay grounded and do what's necessary. I feel like, shoot, I got a gang of mugs around me now depending on me.
Facts.
So I got to keep getting myself educated. I got to keep improving as a man, as a husband, as a father. I got to keep doing that work on me, because I got to get him the best version of me every time we hop on those calls.
Right.
So, yet one more thing to add to my life to keep me on the straight and narrow and keep me, in alignment with who I'm called to be. Right. And this is just my way of serving and trying to make an impact, with this life I got.
I love to hear it, baby. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Absolutely. You're the secret sauce behind all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like that element that's so vital, but people probably don't even know that it's there. It's like, hey, if you rock with me, a large part of that is really because of my wife. Regardless of what you see, know that her hand is all over it.
All up and through.
Yes. She plays a vital part in all of who I am today. So thank my wife. Yeah, and I'm hoping, man, from this, we also build a tribe of amazing wives, who I can connect with my queen, because
I love that.
I want you to be able to have that sisterhood that you also desire. And again, I know, man, it's tough when you don't have a village or a tribe around you who shares your same values and interests in some regard and things like that. Like, it could be tough.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, man, anytime I'm on like Instagram or whatever and I see, the guys or the ladies and they be like on the trips and they be like 15, 20 deep, I be like, man, that is so dope.
Yeah.
And I know, regardless of how they all got together, I think people who have groups like that, I think it's the most beautiful thing ever, especially when you see people who've been rocking 10, 15, 20 years and stuff like that. And I be like, man, that's beautiful.
Right.
And to still be rock solid and close all these years later and to still get together and connect regularly, I just got a whole nother level of appreciation for it. Absolutely. Nowadays, as we've gotten older. And man, shoot, this is low key my own little covert way of building our own tribe.
Right.
Like, I want more meaningful connections and relationships in my lives of people who we value and people who value us and who we can share memories and experiences with and stuff like that. And this is kind of, I guess, my way of going about it. And I want the same thing for what I'm doing with my brotherhood, to also be able to positively impact you with having some dope sisters around you.
Right.
So, thinking about this thing from all angles,
I love it.
Yeah, so that is a peek into the world of Trone as it is right now in the way ahead. So this would be my main priority going forward outside of course, the show. And just making sure that I steward this well and take care of it and take care of the people who have entrusted me with that time and making it something special.
Right. I think that was it. That's good.
Well, thank you, baby. I didn't expect this to be. I didn't expect the show to go like this today.
I kind of wanted it to, especially because you just got off the call with your brother. So I'm like, no, like, let's just talk about it since you just got off the call. Like, still on that, high about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm really glad that we got to do this. I'm glad we got to have this conversation. I'm glad we got to have, that call with the gang earlier. Amazing things are on the way.
I already know.
Amazing things are on the way. And I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, just looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't really got nothing else on it. Like, I'm just glad that I get to do something like this. And I know that it's gonna do a lot of good.
Absolutely.
Hey, family, thank y'all for spending this time, getting my spiel on the brotherhood, that I'm currently building. No call to action. I ain't telling y'all to do nothing, as far as the community is concerned itself. However, if you did get some value out of the show, please do, of course, like, comment, and subscribe. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. All of those good things. Thank you for spending this time with us. And of course, until next time, family, my name is John Trone, and this is my beautiful queen,
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. Until next time, family. Peace and love.